Hey guys, we are live. Welcome to the Ultimate Liberty Swapcast. Pew pew pew. I guess I'm sort of hosting this. I'm Chrissie Mayr from the Chrissie Mayr podcast, and I guess all of us. Let's go around where everybody knows us from, and I guess how we sort of got into this world. We can start with Toad.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Toad. I'm one of the hosts of the Tower Power Hour, which is the official Tower Gang podcast, and everybody really hates me on Twitter, so...
Oh, welcome to the club.
Thank you. Mostly for shit posting. We're known shit posters.
Someone's got to do it. Carol?
Yes, I am Carol Roth. I am a recovering investment banker. I play myself on television, and I am the author of the book, The War on Small Business. I advocate for small business, small government, and big hair, and I have absolutely no idea why I'm here.
I think, the smaller government, bigger hair is always a good thing.
Big bush.
And then we have the first time I'm ever seeing him in the flesh, Fat Dave Smith. It's a pleasure and an honor to meet the man behind the meme.
Hell yeah. It's been fun running as Fat Dave. But yeah, Fat Dave on Twitter. And then I'm also another host of the Tower Power Hour. Fucking shit poster, like Toad said. Like, I'm just out there getting my hands dirty and making people hate me and making people laugh. It's really fun.
Cool. And we have Clint.
Yes, I am Clint from Liberty Lockdown. I am Chrissy's ex-husband, Carol's future ex-husband.
Well, it's a good thing this is a swapcast. That's what we're doing here, right?
Also recovering mortgage broker as opposed to investment banker. And I, via the lockdowns, was forced into the podcasting circuit. And I've been on part of the problem with Dave Smith and TimCast as of late. So that's probably why you recognize these sweet tones.
Sweet tones.
It's because you've been on Tower Power.
You recognize this.
Why.
That's how you recognize this sweet dome.
That's who.
Also,
I just think it's funny that you guys are trolls trying so hard to make people not like you. Like, that's not hard. All you have to just post normal on Twitter and everybody will hate you. You put so much effort into this.
Yeah, just say anything of common sense and they'll come for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as much we're trying to get people to hate us. It's just that, we're just actively just like everything we post, they're just like, fuck you. And we're like, I don't know, whatever. Like,
that happens to me all the time as well. I'm not trying to do that. So
I don't think any of you are trying to be like malicious for no reason. No. I think it's more you're trying to kick over the rocks and see what's there, poke the beehive and other metaphors.
I'm just joshing with you. I'm just trolling the trolls.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that we get the right people to hate us, I would say, for the most part. And those people tend to expose themselves just by seeing us making our jokes and saying what we want to say. They come out of the woodwork and make idiots out of themselves. So the people that hate us are probably the people that we want to hate us for the most part.
Do you all mostly have like a libertarian fan base, like libertarian viewers?
I do for sure. Yeah, prominently or predominantly libertarian or anarcho-capitalist or anarchist. And I've been on Tower Power Hour. It went pretty bad 2 days ago.
No, it went great.
We could talk about that later. No, I thought it was an amazing episode, so whatever. But I don't think I wouldn't actually classify myself as a shitposter. I think that I try and have a fairly serious delivery. And if you hear me on Liberty Lockdown, I am not very humorous. I'm more scaring the shit out of people than if you hear me on Tower Gang. It's like, yeah, I'll say whatever. It just brings out the boyish side of me,
the skinhead in you.
No,
I actually have a very strange group of people because I come from the finance world. I've been in the media world. I really attract people across the spectrum. And I think because, unlike some other folks, because I try to come at it with the common sense, everyone knows I'm always coming in good faith. So even people who are really progressive and who, we probably don't agree on anything, still follow me. Also, I try to add some humor and dogs into my feed. So I have a very odd, eclectic following.
Same as me, except a lot of my fans are on the spectrum.
I was going to make the same joke again.
Gotcha.
Chrissie and I have very similar minds, apparently. Or maybe
As
the
a fan
jokes
of
are
yours,
just too
Chrissie, I
obvious.
can confirm. Definitely
It's
on the
funny because
spectrum.
Toad, like with your chair, it makes you look like a toad. I don't know if you're aware, but like these look like little ears on you. But I know it's your chair.
I mean, a lot of people don't know where. I mean, it is actually my nickname in real life, and I don't really want to dox myself or anything like that. But it came from a period of time in the late '90s where a lot of people had bowl haircuts, including me. And some people in high school nicknamed me that because I looked like Toad from Super Mario, because I am really short as well.
I think
Toad is a lovable character.
Toad from my favorite childhood book, Frog and Toad Are Friends. Anybody remember that? I'm totally dating myself now. That was like a childhood book. All
Doesn't
right,
ring a bell.
someone in the chat
Super
will know.
crazy, weren't they?
Someone in the chat will know.
Don't worry, I'm dating myself all the time, so.
Oh, you mean masturbating?
Yes. Exactly.
Dating myself. This is interesting. Yeah, I definitely wanted to talk a lot about Carol's book. I mean, the title alone, The War on Small Business, How the Government Used the Pandemic to Crush the Backbone of America. I mean, if I don't know how any American would not be curious to read this book. This is something that has affected either you directly or somebody you know closely. I'm not going to have you read it to us word for word, but it's really impressive, and I'm just sort of fascinated how like both Carol and Clint have come from like the worlds of good jobs. Like I don't know so much about Toad and Fat Dave Smith, but I am not really from that world. So I'm very curious to hear like how you, I guess, kind of like to elaborate more on how you found your way here and like, right. And what were you doing, I guess, pre-pandemic?
Yeah, so I mean, I started, as I said, as a Wall Street investment banker and made my way through that, mostly as a way to pay down college, because I was the first person in my family who went to college, like many people. Even though it was a long time ago, I still had $40,000 of college debt and needed a way to pay it down. And so that was like the best job I could get to learn a ton and to pay it down quickly. And when I was at that job, and I think Clint and I talked about this, I would get small business owners who would call me who were desperate for help, and certainly they couldn't afford to hire an investment banker, but it always really stuck with me because I'm an empath and I'm a helper, and I wanted to help them, but they couldn't afford me and they couldn't afford the firm. So I figured when I got out of there that might be a way to leverage the media to be able to help small business. Truthfully, I just really wanted to be a game show host. I still want to be a game show host. Like that's all I really want to do. But I went into the small business arena because that was sort of the easiest transition. And then, it's probably around 2009, 2010. And then because everything was going on with elections and things, 24-hour news cycle, anybody who's talking business started really getting pulled into politics. And that just went to another level in 2012 when Romney got the nomination because he was a private equity guy. And they're like, nobody knows what private equity is. Hey, you were an investment banker. Like you could talk about that. So all of a sudden I'm on CNN with Piers Morgan explaining the auto bailouts and like became like this political aficionado and knew like nothing about this, like probably 2 years before. So I really kind of got thrust into all of this. But have always, I wrote another book called The Entrepreneur Equation that did very well. That was about small business and all the risks. Never did I think the number one risk to the small business was going to be the government coming in and shutting them down, subjugating their property rights. And so when HarperCollins came to me and like, hey, this is going to be historic from an economic standpoint. Do you want to write about it? I was like, oh, that's a nice little project, like an idiot, not realizing that this is this Herculean task. This is going to go on for 15 months. And like it was going to just, be one clown show after another. But in retrospect, I'm glad that I was naive and stupid and agreed to it, because as we're seeing, they're already gaslighting about what happened. And there are people who believe that everybody was locked down, that we were all in this together, that small businesses were appropriately compensated, and then don't realize this was the most historic wealth transfer we've ever seen in our lives from Main Street to Wall Street. And so you've got people that are like counting their little like stimulus dollars, and like the Brinks truck is rolling behind them with like trillions of dollars, and nobody's noticing that because they're counting their stimmy money. So I'm really thrilled that I had the opportunity, but boy, that was a big task that I signed up for.
And I noticed, Carol, on your Twitter feed, I'm actually trying to find it right now. Okay, I did find it. I'm going to bring it up because sometimes charts, I know for me, charts are helpful. Numbers, not so much. But sometimes I just need a little picture. And Carol, you tweeted out this chart. This isn't via capitalism. This is direct transfer courtesy of central planning government /Fed.
Yeah.
Only the rich could love this economic recovery. And it's like, this is us. We're Team Purple, and this is pew crushing it into infinity.
Yeah, it's pretty stark. And as I'm a free market capitalist, so if that happens without government interference, great. If you're gonna work your way into that and outcompete, and you're going to gather wealth, that's fantastic. But you'll notice that the amount that the stock market gained is almost exactly the amount that the Fed printed. Go figure.
Wow.
And so you had sort of two different layers of things going on last year. You had the government shutting down small businesses. Those revenues, that money that a consumer was going to spend was going to the companies that were open, which were Amazon and Walmart and anybody who was politically connected. So their revenues expanded. But then you had all of this unprecedented Federal Reserve intervention in the market on top of the already unprecedented amount of Federal Reserve intervention into the market. And so that, expanded multiples and transferred and created, all this value transfer, really at the expense of retirees and savers, small businesses, everybody who's, kind of part of the Main Street. And that is the tragedy, and it is being rewritten as a capitalist issue, when those of us who've paid any attention to this know that it's directly out of central planning.
Carol, I don't think you understand. Higher inflation means higher wages. I mean, this is easy stuff.
Yeah, CNBC said so, man.
They did. It's the most embarrassing that you're supposed to be the channel, of credible business news. I worked there as a contributor for 4 years, and I was so embarrassed. It's like, way to go. You're going to make $2 more an hour. Pizza's now $23 a slice, but hey, good silver lining there. We're a business
we saved
channel.
16 cents on hot dogs, though. So,
it's literally epic gaslighting. Like, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, and what happens with the money printing part of it is that the money that gets printed, it immediately goes to the politically connected, so they get to use the money before we see the impact in higher prices. And by the time we see any of the money via higher wages, that money has already been devalued to the point where we're already getting screwed by the higher prices. So again, it's part of this massive wealth transfer to
Google Cantillon effect.
Yeah, the Cantillon effect. Yep.
Yeah. And let's just also be clear. In a period that we've been in, kind of post Great Recession to now, there's no monetary policy that's getting people back to work at this point in time. I'm not sure that there ever is, but at this point, the Fed printing money has absolutely nothing to do with the disconnect in the labor market. So them even pretending that it does is just, it's like spitting in everyone's face.
I just want to say too that, if you're old enough to recall, this is exactly what happened after the 2008 collapse. They bailed out the bad actors, and the consumer was the one that was punished. And what you're seeing is a populist uprising amongst both the left and the right that are realizing that the American government has completely abandoned their duty. If you believe in their duty to be looking after the American people, which as a libertarian or an anarchist, I certainly do not believe that. But for the average person that does perceive it to be that way, they've abdicated their role. And I think that you're going to see growing social strife as people come to this realization that we are in this basically on our own, and there's going to be no one that's going to bail us out. And it's absolutely infuriating as someone who was a mortgage broker that was involved in real estate that literally liquidated hundreds of houses in the 2008-09 collapse. I don't want to see it again, and I see it coming. and it pisses me off. It pisses me off that I actually know what's happening, and I can't break through the idiots at MSNBC that are telling people that inflation, that the silver lining of inflation is that if you cut your pizza a couple extra directions, you'll get more slices. It's like these people are fucking idiots. So it's very insulting, and I'm so grateful that we have alternative platforms that can get this message out to people so that they can prepare, because it's going to get ugly.
But the challenge is, though, like we don't have enough people like kind of who aren't in the flow, who understand these things. I mean, the amount of people, who are busy running their lives, taking care of their kids because, oh, by the way, they can't put them back in school or camp, or they have to wear a mask or whatever. They don't understand this. They think it's capitalism. They think that more government is the answer. And that's the craziest part, that we've just been through 15 months of this, of unprecedented government and government adjacent intervention that's created this horrible outcome. And there are people being like, well, like it would be helpful to get like some more, like let's have Medicare for all. Like you said, went through the last 15 months and that was your conclusion, was that Medicare for all was a good idea? Like it's crazy.
We have to get the government more involved in our healthcare. We just have to.
And our lives, definitely.
It's like, oh, let the market decide, but you only have the choice of Amazon, Kohl's, Target, Walmart. Like,
and the
you have
weed
all your
dispensary that's run by the government.
I remember talking to it was named Noam Dworman. He owns the Comedy Cellar in New York City, and even though like I believe his family like owns that building, I just remember talking to him like last spring, and he was so frustrated. Like he honestly sounded like he was almost in tears. Like he was just he jumped through so many hoops. He did everything that he was told to reopen or stay open, and then at some point they made him put up like a buffet, like a spit shield. You know what I mean? I mean, us comedians, like some of us can be pretty dirty and degenerate, but I don't think we need like a salad bar, like zoo animal shield.
Wait, they put that on the stage?
Yes, yeah. I haven't been there. I haven't been to the club since, but I've seen photos, and comics tell me that it looks ridiculous. And there's just been the weird way that it affects comedy is like the audiences in the city now they feel so different, because like, and I never am a comic that wants to blame the audience, because it's my job to like be funny and make whoever showed up laugh. But when the lights come on, you're like, oh my God, like everyone who's sitting in a crowd in New York City, like they're all like either broke college students, or they're just like, broke regular people who couldn't move out, who couldn't escape the city. And it feels like a different, I get a lot of comics telling me like they just loathe performing in New York City now because of this reason. Like the crowds, it's not like a good, sampling with tourists and people visiting. It's just,
that's actually a good microcosm for what Carol was talking about, is that, the poor are the one that are going to suffer under this policy making. It's going to be the people that can't flee the big cities, that are stuck there to languish as society crumbles around them. Whereas the wealthy are all fleeing to Florida, or they're going offshore. They're going to be fine. Right. Yeah. It's just, this is why if the plebs, us, don't come together, even though I'm not really a pleb, I'm basically retired, but I still consider myself one. I really think that this is like if you care about civilization, like this is really, it's that important. Like we have to come together as a people and realize who is actually dominating us, because it's not each other. It's not the extremist white supremacist nonsense. It's not the January 6th riots. It's not the Black Lives Matter rioters. This is a much bigger thing. And I hope that people are starting to wake up, because you've had 16 months locked in your fucking house. I hope you did some research and figured out who's actually ripping you off.
And also, I'll add to that, I want to call out the crappy capitalists, because like everyone wants to like say 1% versus 99. That's not what this is about. Like there are plenty of people like Clint and myself, who are probably included in that top number. Somebody has to be in the top number, but who actually care and understand that if you don't allow for wealth creation opportunities for everyone, that we've lost the foundation of economic freedom and what this country stands for, and that in history that never works out well for everyone. Henry Ford knew this, right? He knew that you had to pay people well in order for them to buy the cars, like you can't exclude people from wealth creation. And I don't know why, if you're a capitalist and you have the abundance mentality, you would want that. You would think you would want more people. So there are plenty of people who've done well, who are, espousing the message and want to bring people along for the ride. It's the people who have the opposite mentality, who have the limiting mentality, who want that like club that's the elitists, the ruling class, the politically connected and the big business, and it's just us and nobody else can come in. And I don't care what they're reasoning for, like that's what we need to be fighting against, because otherwise then again we end up pointing the fingers in the wrong direction instead of having it pointed squarely at the government and the system.
Do you think the demise of small businesses was always part of the grand plan, or did they just sort of see it going this way and they're like, oh, let's take advantage of this?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was the plan, and I think they used COVID as sort of a jumping off point to really accelerate that. Like, oh, let's crush small businesses now so we can leave only those larger businesses that are the politically connected ones, basically crony capitalism. So then the businesses that you leave are those big ones that will actually do the government's bidding. And I kind of think it's a combination of a few different things, where there are people that absolutely know what's going on and they're politically connected. They're doing it for the money. There are other people that probably feel afraid to go against it. And I think there are other people that just completely believe it. And all of them are involved in this.
Which is why when you have Ian Smith, he kept his gym open in Belmar, New Jersey. What was it called? The Tellus Gym.
The Tellus Gym, yeah.
He pissed so many people off because he kept bobbing and weaving and stayed open and stopped charging memberships, but then like way upped his merch. So then it would like make some money back that way through merch. And people like fell in love with this guy. It's like, how do you not, if you live in New Jersey or anywhere near there, go out of your way to like throw money at this guy?
That's a true American hero right there.
Yeah.
I think the state of New Jersey wound up seizing the gym and their assets and their bank account or something like that.
They're in the book. They racked up more than $1 million in fines from the state, which I'm assuming they will not pay, but that's kind of the state of where things were.
Incredible.
Well, it's crazy. I'm not as old as some of y'all. That's a little jab, but
thanks for outing us as the old.
Wow, maybe we just moisturize, okay?
But I
wow, morbidly obese Dave.
Yeah, true, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll die by the time I get to your age.
Yeah, I was going to say you'll die early, fat Dave.
Yeah, you're gonna lose a leg first.
Of COVID.
You diabetic.
He has a comorbidity.
Yeah, but you have multiple comorbidities. But I was gonna say that I don't remember a time ever where the government has had a chance where even the people are going against small businesses too. Like they're telling, like maybe not just for the reason of small business, but like you don't need to be open because you're endangering my health. And like it's like it was almost like a golden plate given to them. Like, hey, you can not only take away small businesses, you can also get the majority of people like agreeing with you to do it. And it's like it's kind of crazy and really scary about what happens when the government and the people together are behind the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I lay out the case in the book. It's kind of a choose your own adventure book, and kind of lay out the case of the intentionality, not just during COVID, but kind of leading up and how we got to the point where they were able to do that. But it really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you think that the small businesses were too small to matter or too hard to control. The outcome is going to be the same. And that's where I feel like we can get people to come together. So instead of saying, it was intentional. No, they were incompetent. Oh, it was just convenient. It doesn't matter. Like, what we care about is the outcome. And that's where I've been able to find a lot of common ground with folks. It's like, I don't even need to convince you that like lockdowns weren't the right answer, because like we didn't have lockdowns. There were all kinds of places that weren't locked down, and it wasn't based on data or science. It was based on political clout and connections. So if you can come to that where you realize, okay, these people were singled out, and then realize they weren't appropriately compensated, that in and of itself is enough of the argument. I don't need to tell you what was the right course of action, because like either course of action on liberty or lockdowns, shout out to you, Clint.
Wow. Free advertising.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I kind of have a different conspiracy theory here, and it's not really a conspiracy theory. I mean, if you want to go with the World Economic Forum, I think that the Great Reset, you can look at all these politicians using the same language to describe what's occurring and get really conspiratorial. Whether you believe that this is actually all orchestrated by those, small nefarious figures in smoke-filled rooms, I'm not sure. The way I view it is it's much more simplistic, in my view, to see this as essentially the end of empire. Like, this is just what happens when you have a country with a government that has grown to this magnitude, that has this level of tax receipts, that has this level of corporate handouts and bailouts and things like that. This is where you go. I mean, you end up with big business entrepreneurs that seem like they're not, the worst people on earth, but they realize where their bread is buttered. That if you get so much of your revenue from the government, you're going to, that's your customer. And I don't know how you can break that tie as long as you have Amazon and Twitter and YouTube and all these people that have, in my view, they almost certainly have massive contracts with the CIA or the FBI or whoever. I think this is just a natural progression of a government that's too big and an empire that has basically bankrupted us.
Yeah, big government with small dick energy.
Yeah, it's a real terrible combination.
The worst of all worlds.
I mean, what can you expect when all politicians are above 70 years old? Like, they can't even get up with Viagra. So, they're definitely going to have politicians.
That was talk about gaslighting, man, to watch Pelosi just get her hair done willy-nilly, to see Newsom just out at a restaurant with his buds. You feel I keep saying this. I'm it's we're all in an abusive relationship, and anytime you try to leave, you get pushed down the stairs again. And then they're told, it's your fault. You made me hit you,
And all the people around you are agreeing with them too. It's your problem. It's not them. They can do it. They're protected class.
You need to wear 2 sets of knee pads. You need to protect yourself.
I just don't understand how they keep ending up on all these private planes. That's the part every time I see some twins, it's on some private planes. Why are you on a private plane?
Carol, are you referring to? And I don't fully understand what happened, so probably someone can probably explain better. Was it that these Texas Democrats walked out on some kind of a decision and ended up on a private plane with no masks on? They were taking a stand, but I don't fully.
That was definitely the most recent example. Them and their Miller Lights and their whatever.
Come on, Epstein.
Yeah, it's
just they're going to Epstein's Island, actually. Yeah.
And the worst part is you see people and they're cheering them on. It's what are you doing? These people are abdicating their responsibility. They're taking off on a private plane financed by who knows who, and they're going to go fly around and joke. What's happening here? This is you should be completely horrified by this. Not going, you go, girl, you go get some Miller Lite. What's happening?
Right. I wish COVID was actually as lethal as they claim it to be, because then maybe all those people would just take themselves out by doing that.
Yeah, let's get dark now. It has kind of devolved. Well, or maybe it's always been there and we're just uncovering it into just brainless fans of a certain team. That's kind of what it feels like. Nobody cares who's the better team or who should be winning. It's just oh well, I bought this jersey years ago, and well, gosh darn, I'm gonna keep wearing it.
Well, that's the best part about having no team, is I get to hate everybody equally. It's very fun.
Right.
I'll amp it up one. I think it's gone beyond the sports. It's gone to religion. And they think that government is their God. And it's the worst religion ever. And so they're just blindly following their cult leader and saying, yes, this makes sense, and drinking the Kool-Aid. And this becomes what they live and breathe. We can't escape it. And I think that's even more dangerous than stupid sports fans, right?
And when you don't have God and you are kind of spiritually bankrupt, not you have to be a Christian or whatever, but we've all seen examples of people who they're freaking out in a Victoria's Secret, for example, or they're burning something down. It's
nice segue.
Oh, there's something missing. There's a chunk of you're spiritually unwell. There's a lack there. There's a vacuum, and what fills that? It's this perfect taking advantage of. It's hooking up with a girl with daddy issues. It's the government can swoop in and be oh, we'll join our team. You can wag your finger at everybody else and feel superior because you actually suck IRL.
Yeah, it's just all these people are like they're already like terrible people, and so they want to be part of something bigger, and then they got their amazing moment where they can grandstand for fucking 12 months of saying like you're the problem because you don't wear the mask or you don't social distance, and I can be the I'm the religious zealot that is better than you. I mean, it's crazy, the religion and statism kind of crossover there.
Yeah, it's like hall monitors on crack. It's just not good.
They're going knocking door to door. Hi, can I tell you about masks and jabs?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Well, since I did bring it up, I don't know if you guys have seen this. This was kind of like trending this week. And we can talk about this because I think it's a symptom of like a larger kind of a community illness, I guess. Like this woman had a meltdown in a Victoria's Secret because this Black woman was filming her. And I'm going to play a little bit of this to see what you guys think and maybe see what the chat thinks of this. Oh, before I do, I don't want to forget this super chat because it's flying away. And I also don't even understand this super chat, which makes you think it's one of your guys' fans. Okay. From Neil, is Robbie Sove extra gay for simping for corpos? I don't understand any part of that.
Robbie Suave is
Suave.
I believe is a Reason Magazine type of libertarian, so more mainstream libertarian. Gets numerous things right. I believe he is actually gay, and yes, he's most certainly extra gay for simping for large corporations.
Of
I
course,
don't know that they should ask about Rico Suave.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like Gerardo in the 80s.
Robbie's his son.
It's like, yeah,
I'll take Rico any day.
does Rico Suave now identify as Latinx?
Well,
He's better.
that's true.
Unless he's
Just like
a bigot.
Leguizamo. Yeah. All right, cool.
It's Latinx.
Latinx, right. That sounds like a woodland creature. I love it. Okay, I'm going to share this because this is what we all came here to see, is a lady freaking out in Victoria's Secret. It's so funny because this would have never happened had this woman not got a free panty coupon, which like any women maybe on this panel or watching knows, it's like that's how they get you.
I thought it was their
Back
new.
in my day, you would freak out in a Victoria's Secret because you looked fat in the lingerie. Now she's freaking out because of some other viral sort of moment here.
I mean, she also
I think-
looks fat, but that's besides the point.
Oh, I thought she was one of the
But
new.
but she's got a lot of confidence, so it's
Yeah.
Oh, her being fat isn't the point here? What?
Oh, no. Okay, so here's the article. Isn't it funny? It's on heavy.com. No pun intended. All right. Victoria's Enough about her weight. Victoria's Secret Karen, Short Hills. Shout out to New Jersey. Mall video goes viral, and there's a video dubbed Victoria's Secret Karen. Poor lady. Online has gone viral and is provoking questions about how Millburn, New Jersey police handled the incident. Wow, this woman's only 25. That explains her mental illness. Okay, so let me just, I'm going to post this and I want to see. Supposedly it started when the white lady wanted, but it's not on this video. Apparently she had a request to stay 6 feet away, although she's not wearing a mask, so I'm not buying that as an excuse. Wait, was somebody going to say something before I play this?
I was going to say that I'm going to blame the lockdowns for the mental state of these people before even seeing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's probably her first time out in a while. She threw away all of her panties with holes in them. She's like, let me go to Victoria's Secret. Look, they represent me now. They're going to have ugly models.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I need to get me some new thongs.
If she is one of the new models, that's what I was
Oh my God, that is too funny. Okay, we're going to play this. I don't know what you guys think.
She would have to be missing an
here we go.
appendage and have a colostomy bag or something.
You're going to miss it really quick. The first thing you see in this video is actually this woman does catch her hitting her. So let me see if you guys will see it. Wait, let me go from the beginning. Whip.
Oh my God!
Immediately starts crying.
Do you see this? Oh my God!
She learned. By the way, she learned this from the soccer players.
She just tried to run and hit me.
Oh my God!
And now she. Did you see her? You saw her, right? They all saw her.
Why would you ever try to hit a black lady?
Oh my God!
Well, this is. This is exactly what happened. You hit the nail right on the head. She was caught like going to hit this black lady, and I would not recommend it unless you like want to go down the whole of the story. But later in this police report, this woman, this blonde lady said over and over, she was afraid of losing her job and afraid of losing her apartment because she was caught on film, like, hitting a black woman. And to the brainwashed left, that means an immediate ejection from society. You lose everything, game over. So that's what this also mixed in with, probably some good old fashioned mental illness. But that's what this woman, I think, is going through.
It's like, yeah, bitch, you're not Chris Brown. You can't hit black ladies.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there should be.
Hit me. She tried to hit me. Now I want security for you.
I mean, listen, I know people are stressed out right now, but like, you can't hit people. Like, that's insane. This is like, there's so many Karen situations which are, like, you kind of feel like you only have part of the story. And I've been in situations where I'm like, oh, if you started filming now, this would look totally different than if you started filming 5 minutes before. But
True.
Legitimately, if she was going to hit her, I mean, like, that's pretty clear-cut violence. Like, that's not cool.
I actually am going to be the only one that dissents on this. So let me give you my 2 cents. I think this is not even a joke. I honestly think that they got into some sort of conversation prior, and the black lady went to pull her phone up to record her, and the white lady is reaching over to swipe the phone down because she doesn't want to be recorded. That's all she's saying is she's crying there. I think that it's sincere. I'm not sure that she was actually swinging to hit her. I thought she was hitting at the phone.
Justified.
Interesting.
I mean, I could see that being the case. Yeah.
Well, so this is my Amtrak story. So my Amtrak story is I was going to see a client, and I was going from Delaware to Washington, D.C., and I got on, and I was in business class, which on Amtrak means like you have a guaranteed seat, but none of the seats are assigned. So you can sit anywhere you want in business class. And so I needed to have a window seat because I had a lot of things to plug in. And I finally found one next to this like Amtrak employee who was like asleep at the end. There was nothing there. There was like no paperwork. There was no water bottle, nothing. So I go in there, and like 45 minutes into the Jersey, like I hear some guy like screaming and like freaking out. And I was like, what is this guy freaking out? And then I'm like, oh my God, he's freaking out at me. And he's like, you took my seat. And I'm like, what do you mean? There's no assigned seats here. Like I've been here for 45 minutes. Like I didn't take, like, go find another seat. No. So the Amtrak employee sitting next to me is like, okay, fine, dude. Like I'll get up, you can have this seat. And he's like, no, I want that seat. And I'm like, okay, and my normal reaction would not have been a pleasant one, but I realized same kind of thing, that like someone's going to pull their phone out at that moment. They're going to miss this whole thing, and then it's going to be crazy lady on the train going nuts. So I moved over, had to sit next to this guy, and then of course was amusing myself with like taking pictures, like I'm sitting next to this a-hole, and like trying to figure out like how I could spill on him. But then again, like he's crazy. Like literally, it's like some guy flexing on me on a train. So I didn't know what he had, and like all these guys around me are like, miss, like you didn't have to do that. And I'm like, way to stick up for me, guys. But anyway, and I was like, I know, but I'm a public figure, and I know the second that I do, someone's going to pull out their phone, and it's going to be like the story is just going to be my part of the story, which missed the whole reason why this happened to begin with. So I am very empathetic to the like catching the dispute mid-time. I do have the guy's picture, by the way, from the Amtrak. I still have it on me. And one day I will track him down and out. So I'm just saying, he was definitely like a VC or lawyer type of guy. And like, I know he was like a little snot, and he's going to get it one day.
Small dick energy.
This is like your Rosa Parks moment, right?
Yes, it really is.
Exactly
it really is.
Yeah.
I will not sit in the back.
I will not sit in the aisle. I'm going to have the window. Yeah.
I want to show the rest of this because this does get, it's a lot more of this just like screeching, squatting. Again, a lot of it she's saying, get away from me, but she at no point leaves the store. Like, if this woman just got up and walked away, the situation would be over. And now I think she's like leaning into the victim thing.
scaring me.
I mean, it could just be that time of month, you know.
Oh, come on.
Chrissy, you don't walk away from free panties. You stay there until you get the panties.
Well, yeah.
This is too much.
No, why did she walk away from me? No, I was here. No. We're not doing this.
And then this part,
like, I'm out. Like, I want no part of it.
yeah, the employee's like, bye. This part, the grand finale. This is how I know this woman has a theater degree. Is this part right here?
Oh my god!
Leads down.
He's a professional soccer player. I watched them do this during the finals over and over again. Anytime anyone came near them, they would flop onto the ground.
Is that why somebody mentioned Megyn Rapinoe in the chat?
They could not be any less attentive to this woman, by the way. There's women like stepping over her to swipe their Amex card.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just love the thought that there's someone in the background like, oh, man, where are the G strings at? I need to get.
Yeah. Look, this is what she does. She asks about a coupon.
I mean, this is what the lockdowns have done to people. This is the outgrowth of the PTSD of being locked in your house for 15 months.
Yeah, I mean, I walk into Victoria's Secret expecting to see sexy women in lingerie, and you're going to give me this? What the hell?
Good luck. Good luck finding that.
It's called
2 out of 5
advertising
stars.
versus reality. Learn it, love it, live it.
If you want sexy, you're going to have to go to Sears for that now.
Oh, no.
I will say this: I don't know who's responsible.
This part too.
Oh my god! Wow.
Just something else.
Why are you saying I'm threatening you? So I'm recording to protect myself.
This is too much. But okay, a moment of
Victoria's
sympathy.
Secret stock go after this.
Oh my god, right? If this woman is genuinely like, oh, this is the end of my life. Like if she truly believes this is the end of her life, then this.
You know what's not going to help it? Doing this.
Yeah, I was going to say, doing this will be the end of your life.
This is my favorite part. She says, "Get away from me," while following
walking
her.
towards her.
But I guess that the other question is, why is the other woman still there filming it? Like why isn't she left? Like why is she Steven Spielberg and recording this for like posterity?
I agree. Yeah, they both could have ended it by
Pretty
just
much
sort
at
of
any
like
time.
walking away.
The blonde woman went to the cop school of commands and just like stop resisting.
Oh my god.
Can we all at least agree that cameras on phones were a mistake?
Absolutely. I mean, like, none of the guys are saying that because they all have like their phones are full of the dick pics, but and not their dick.
Oh yeah, it's because everybody sends me dick pics. Yeah,
Yeah, you just saved them.
It's actually inside baseball and Tower Gang. Whenever you join the chat, you have to send a picture of your dong.
Wow.
Yeah, we start chanting "Show Dong."
Yeah,
Boys will be boys. All right, super chat from I think one of your fans, Amoy Kane, Carol and Clint. Thoughts on 991 billion reverse repo on 630?
I didn't actually read about that. Did you read about that, Carol?
I mean, I've been reading about all different kinds of reverse repos, and what the Fed's going to say is that it's needed for liquidity in the market, which we all know is a hunk of BS. And this is part of the problem, is that everything they do is so opaque that you really can't get a sense of like, why is it that you needed to go and do this sort of short-term operation in the market, particularly at that level. So it's like my macro stance is that the Fed needs to be reined in, and there should be very strict parameters where we're not seeing things like this come out. So
What is reverse repo? Is this not a sex move?
yeah. Damn it! I was gonna say this.
That's the reverse repo.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So basically, we're gonna get into like
It's when the government bends you over. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is at a high level. Basically, what all of the repos are, reverse repos, is the government bending all of us over. But they're basically short-term agreements to repurchase securities in the market. One side is a purchase, which is a repo. The other side, the person who's going to purchase the other side's the reverse repo, without kind of getting into the specifics. But it's meant to, from a short-term standpoint, provide liquidity in the market or allow, between, whether it's between the Fed and banks or bank to bank, these short-term agreements in terms of the repurchase of securities so that they can meet reserve requirements.
So it's an expensive Band-Aid. Yeah.
Kind of. What I think is actually happening is that because we've had such easy monetary policy for so long, you have a tremendous amount of malinvestment that exists in this market across the board. And even though there's a ton of liquidity, there are still issues where like you'll have short-term borrowing issues where big corporations can't get the money that's necessary. And it's because it's just so opaque. You have so much counterparty risk. It's just, I'm horrified that they're setting us up for a massive collapse, and that this type of stuff, even though it doesn't seem to make sense, because as Carol said, there is a ton of liquidity in this market. I think that there's a reason for it, and I don't think it's just to increase the bubble further. I think that there's actual like fissures within the economy that are starting to show themselves.
Well, I wanted to mention this earlier. Back when we were talking about people trying to leave like New York and all these big cities, I honestly kind of feel bad for them because they are moving, trying to buy a new house, and then people are saying, well, oh, there's low interest rates and you can get it real cheap. And then in a couple of years, they might lose it and lose their whole livelihood, even though they left these big cities. Because if the Fed, we could see a moment where a lot of people leave and then just lose their houses and their jobs by leaving also. They're kind of fucked either way.
Well, and there's also, there's the government inflation in terms of all of their, taxes and whatnot, like property taxes. You go and you buy the house and you think that you can afford it, and then you have this, chain on you from property taxes, and the levels that those have increased. Like I'm in the wonderful state of Illinois, and there are people that I know in the suburbs, 2-income middle-class families who have had to give up their houses because they bought a house, normal, average suburban house, $5,000 in property taxes, which is still a crazy amount. And then within like a year, that goes to $15,000 in property taxes. Like who in the middle class can afford to have a recurring payment just for property taxes to the government of $15,000? Oh, and by the way, in Illinois and now everywhere else, you can't deduct that anymore.
Well, and staying in the city is also way too expensive. And it seems to me like city governments are trying to trap people in cities at this point, where they're talking about removing roads and not allowing people to drive anymore. Like, you're gonna have no way out of the city.
Well, we don't drive in Chicago because you get carjacked.
Oh,
it's not even funny. Like, that's the reality of the situation. So
Carol's like, I'm getting a rickshaw, and
but without the government, who would remove the roads?
I'm getting an army tank. That's my next vehicle.
If she rides around in a rickshaw too long, she'll get rickshot. I would not want to live in Chicago.
Rickshot. Okay, cool. Another super chat from Neil. Thoughts on the paleo question? Are you talking about the diet? I don't know. It's like Atkins, I guess.
The paleo question is good, man. The paleo question is, I'm more into the ketogenic diet personally, but the paleo question was about, I think it was Rothbard's creation. I'm not sure if it was him, but it was basically the idea that libertarians should use the Republican Party to further their goals. I am not a huge fan of it personally because I believe the RNC is corrupt to its core. But there's a lot of difference of opinion amongst the libertarians as to which direction to go.
I thought it was more like Rothbard and some other libertarians aligning with paleo conservatives because they became anti-war in the 1990s, basically after the Cold War had ended. I thought it was more like that, not necessarily using the Republican Party, but I think it was also a failed strategy for various reasons.
I'm unaffiliated, but as I said, sort of small government, big hairish. And I am for breaking up the two-party system. I think it's the biggest duopoly in the entire world. So I'd like to see fewer more parties and fewer, less concentrated power. And at that point, yes, maybe you need to have some alliances to advance certain things. But, in terms of just going fully aligning together, I think that we already have too much concentrated power as it is.
And I've heard conservatives make the argument, well, libertarians don't deal in reality. They're just kind of like up in the clouds. They're idealists. They should kind of make a plan for how reality is right now, instead of like, well, in a perfect world there wouldn't be a duopoly. Do you guys hear that a lot?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We get
Well,
that.
also
a ton.
you also have Kyle Kashev tweeting out yesterday that we need to stop letting libertarians define conservatism. Like,
Yeah.
like even they don't even like, they just start saying things about libertarians. They'll just attack us whenever they can because it's an easy scapegoat whenever they fail.
I mean, let's just call it like it is. Like the GOP is a mess. Like right now, there's a huge fracture in the GOP as it is. So I feel like they need to kind of get their own stuff together before they worry about everyone else. Because like that, how many people have you seen say I'm leaving the party or I'm this or or whatever it is? It seems like they don't really know what's going on.
What I don't understand is they believe that there may have been shenanigans. I'll just.
That's a perfect way to say it.
Keep us on.
Perfect.
Yeah,
They were
A
based
big
on
a lot of
knuckleheads.
oopsies. Yeah.
there was a few oopsies in swing states, and they believe that their Lord and Savior was removed from his throne unceremoniously and via corruption, and yet they still think that this is salvageable. Like that's what I don't get. It's like if you honestly believe that, and I think there's compelling evidence to consider that at least, then what are we fucking talking about? Like what are you talking about? Like you could get Trump to run again. Do you think that they're not going to do it again? I mean, come on.
I mean, as far as libertarianism supposedly being that idealistic, there's nothing more idealistic than expecting other humans to be able to rule over other humans or rule over you and your life.
Yeah, there's also a lot of unicorn stuff that we've seen of the GOP. Like if you're going to say like not being based in reality, I've heard of a lot of stuff over the last year that's like nowhere based in reality. So like maybe you shouldn't be so loosey-goosey with the pointing fingers there.
I think maybe they see you as just like, potential allies or potential like team members that are just like
that
fractured.
Won't play ball.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because we see them the same way. I see conservatives, like the best of conservatives, the ones that believe in liberty and they believe in gun rights and they believe in small government, and I'm like I'm with you. I'm with you. The paleos, exactly. I'm with you all the way up until that point. But the truth is, when you guys get power, you do nothing to protect our liberty. So what am I to do? Am I supposed to just look at your entire history and the past 100+ years of us just going closer and closer to totalitarianism and consider you a viable, useful tool in this fight? It's hard for me to feel that way. I mean, if Trump, who in my opinion was a genuine outsider, was completely defanged and basically assassinated with propaganda, because he was, from his inception, they were setting him up for treason and all sorts of shit. I just don't know. I don't know how you can still look at that and believe that this system is salvageable. This is ultimately why I'm an anarchist, and I don't think that we should have a government anymore because it's that corrupt. But I wish them luck.
I think Fat Dave Smith had a stroke. Oh, he's back.
Sorry.
Hey, I actually did have one.
I also like carbs, so the whole paleo thing.
Yeah.
Question for me.
And I'm Trump. I think is obviously he was an insider, but I think what happened was he became impossible to control. That's my take.
You think he was an insider, really?
Yes.
Why would the media have treated him how they did?
Because they realized that they weren't able to control him.
But does that make him an insider? I mean, isn't the very definition of an insider someone who's playing ball that's controlled opposition?
Yes. Okay. So let's say I think they planned on him being an insider then, I guess, and he turned out to not be exactly. If that makes sense.
They thought they could turn him like straight guys at Pride.
Yeah.
I've never failed once.
He still wasn't able to get anything done as far as shrinking the size of government. Obviously, he expanded it massively.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he had any intent of shrinking the government, but I do think he had intent to end the wars, and he couldn't even do that. So, it's just, I don't understand it. I mean, I get it because we're all upset. We're upset that the trajectory of the nation is terrible. And we all want to figure out a way to fix this. But for the conservatives to look at the libertarians as the reason is very funny to me personally. Because I'm like, we don't have any fucking power. Y'all have had power and you haven't stopped this. So how are you going to point the finger at us? Shouldn't you be reflecting on yourselves first? I don't know.
Right. Well, and we don't want the power. We don't want anybody to have it.
I would like to have the power to protect myself. And I can't even do that now. It's crazy.
All right, Fat Dave Smith is back.
Taking the gun.
Oh, he had to go to hit the buffet line.
Had to get a snack.
Buffet line. He was just pulling it out of his own rolls of fat. What are you talking about?
Okay, non sequitur super chat from John Sochachki. I paid and hung around homeless shoppers at Short Hills Mall in 0607. Lady melts down at Short Hills Mall. Yeah. Do you think maybe she was homeless? I don't know. She didn't
look homeless.
The homeless don't really go to Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, that's Sticky is kind of like a little, I think, out of
the homeless shop at JCPenney.
If the homeless are eating that well,
I know, right?
Plus, she got the coupon for the free panties, so they had to deliver that somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, this is another super chat from Voxix. Try the Catfish Parlor in Austin, Chrissy, and shout out to the PP Poo Cast. Boys, shoop to wop, yeehaw! I got my money's worth. I ran out of words.
Is that us? Are we the PP?
This must be one of your fans, although I do have mentally ill fans too.
Can I try voicing this for you?
Yeah.
Try the Catfish Parlor in Austin, Chrissy, and shout out to the PP Poocast boy. Shoot the whoop, yeehaw! Okay, I got my money's worth. I ran out of words.
Well done. We should have you read all these. All right, try the next one, Carol.
Chicks with daddy issues, good or bad, depends on time or preference. Also, 6 million, too high or too low?
Oh my God.
Jose is another host that comes on a lot on our podcast. So he was. I saw this super chat early on. I started laughing because
he's the host of No Way Jose podcast. I'll give him the shout out for it. He paid
$5. This
$5.
feels like 3 separate thoughts.
That's usually how it works. That's usually actually the maximum that he can get to.
Do we feel like Eric Cartman would be a better fit for this?
Yeah.
Okay, like chicks with daddy issues could be like good or bad, like depends on the time or preference. Okay. Also, like 6 million, too high or too high? What are you doing?
Too low.
I just love that it's not asking is it too high or too low, is that the actual number, or should it be higher or should it be lower?
What is 6 million that he's referring to?
We can't even talk about it.
6 million chicks with daddy issues? I bet there's more.
I love that you are so innocent. You don't know this reference. It makes you way more endearing. It's a reference to the Holocaust. So I am sorry.
As the resident Jew, no, stay on the Holocaust.
I'm going to say that figure is way too high.
I'm not touching that. I'm half German.
As a big fan of Jewish people, I think the figure was way too high. I wish it hadn't been so high. Jose, you freaking psychopath.
Seriously.
Super Truther 4-5. Do you know about or have any thoughts about quantum currency? Oh God, is this not crypto? Is this a more complicated version?
I know cryptocurrency. I would imagine quantum currency is quantum computing encrypted currency, which seems interesting, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, that's above our pay grade. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This seems like a chat that would come on like TimCast. It's like
I know. Maybe they got confused because we are on at the same time. Maybe they got their screens confused.
Because it is something that sounds like, hey, what's the long hair guy? I can't remember.
Ian.
Like Ian. Have you know what?
I mean, our backdrop is money, so
I changed it. I changed it in the middle.
But yeah, as the computer guy, I should probably know something about that, but I do not know enough about crypto, so I need to know more.
I don't know if this is supposed to be funny. Is this okay, this is not a super chat, but the Rothbard diet is mostly gefilte fish and matzo ball soup.
It's another Jewish joke. Sorry, this is what the Tower Gang
It's okay.
I think it's a combination. It's an attack on the paleo strategy as well at the same time, because you're eating all these carbs.
Yeah, okay, all right. We'll accept it. From Torgo the White, Kyle Kashuv's quote is the perfect example of conservatives are progressives during driving the speed limit. What have they conserved?
Exactly.
You tell me.
Attributed to Michael Malice.
Yeah.
Right. He's one of my daddies for sure.
Yeah.
And then you hear, oh, Trump had everything was going to happen in the second term. Like, I just missed it,
Yeah, those 2 Trumps under Bush really helped us out. So I don't know. It's like, yeah, I think Trump could have been better in his second term. He also could have started World War III. I don't know. But I know that Biden's terrible. So I'm not like, don't get my questioning of the GOP or of Trump or any of that shit as an endorsement of the DNC. I mean, they're pure evil. So
yeah, I mean, just like if you're somebody who is a fiscal conservative, whether you're libertarian, independent, fiscally, regular conservative, some mix of the non-binary conservative, whatever it is, if you look at the amount the deficit was expanded under Trump, that we got nearly $1 trillion pre-COVID. If you look at what Mnuchin did, Trump's badgering of the Feds to continue to bring back down interest rates after they were starting to go up, like all of those kinds of things, no matter what you thought about, his other policies, and there were some of them that, made sense and were good, that part, he was not anywhere near the realm of fiscally conservative. He looked much more like a Democrat from that standpoint. And so I think there's a legitimate conservative criticism of his fiscal policy.
Fiscally, other than tax rates, he was worse than your average Democrat. I mean, in terms of spending, it's incredible. And he also allowed for the lockdowns. You can blame it all on Fauci if you want, but he still put Fauci on that stage and didn't fire his ass.
Not only that, let's also, because I researched this and wrote a book about this, by the way, if you haven't bought it.
Oh, yes, everyone buy it.
I'm a fan.
I just bought it.
15 days to slow the spread came out of the Trump administration. They were the ones that handed the playbook to these stupid governors, thinking that they were just going to run with 15 days. That was their brainchild. So in terms of what kicked this whole thing off in motion, and there were a whole slew of things that kind of where they dropped the ball prior to that. But like that whole brainchild came straight out of a press conference on March 16th from the Trump administration.
Yeah,
and the other thing you expected from a New York Democrat for like all his life, and then just immediately just turns around 4 years before he gets elected. Is like, well, I can get with these guys now, but it's not like he's going to change ideologies, on a dime.
I mean, he's a progressive like all the rest of them pretty much. And the other thing that he did was also establish the federal state of emergency, which allowed for the state level lockdowns to happen. So. Fuck that.
And then he talked about how, he wished that the governors would lift lockdowns and lift mask mandates. It's like, motherfucker, you gave them this power. Like this was set in motion by you. So that's what bothers me the most about the Trump supporters is that especially the ones that hated lockdowns, they have completely given him
a pass.
A pass. It's just like, what are we doing here? I mean, I'm not trying to say that like Biden is any better. Biden is way worse. But like, how are you not upset with Trump too?
That's always the argument. They'll be like, well, what if Hillary was in there at that time? Maybe we way worse. It's like, well, we don't care. Like, it's like
it was still fucking awful. I
had closed my business. Said before, it didn't matter.
And I'm okay with him giving that power to the states. I feel like that was the right thing, but you shouldn't give him the roadmap that says it's going to be 2 weeks and, it's okay to shut down small businesses first if there are clusters of this, that, and the other thing. That was the roadmap was the problem. I think the authority of, decentralizing that power is okay, but the roadmap is what I had the problem with.
I'm a big 10th Amendment guy. I would have been fine with states' rights. However, I would also like them to acknowledge the rest of the Bill of Rights. Like you can't lock me in my house and put me out of business and allow Amazon and all these other companies to make trillions. No, not okay.
Agreed.
What's crazy is that they locked down people from going to church, and these are Trump's supporters, and they still didn't say they still supported him after that, which is insane to me that he never got shit for that. That he never absolutely ate it on that one. They just kind of were like, well.
I think had they tried the lockdowns under Hillary, there's a chance that we would have seen. A real violent uprising. So that's the other reason I'm like, I don't know if Trump's presidency was any better than had Hillary been in there. I mean, at least the conservatives would have been like, no, we're going to church. Are you out of your mind?
You think with Hillary in charge, there'd be more or less fights in Victoria's Secret?
I think I would be forced to shop at at Victoria's Secret if she was
All of
president.
Bill's girlfriends would be fighting in Victoria's Secret and throwing down. But here's the thing: I don't know that we would have had lockdowns under Hillary.
Ooh.
Yeah, because they may have implemented them to get
it.
rid of him. It's certainly possible.
Yeah. Oh man, there'd be no COVID if Hillary was in charge. That's a real mindfuck.
Yeah.
We're going real Alex Jones right now. Let's do it.
That was Trump's problem. Hired terrible neocons who all betrayed him. Yeah, he hired Bolton. Like as soon as he hired Bolton, I was like, hey, that ain't anti-war, brother. I don't know what you're fucking been paying attention to, but that dude is responsible for most of the wars over the past 20 years.
Yeah, Bolton, Pompeo,
and Mr. Wall Street. I mean, come on.
Oh boy. Jesus Christ.
Taking it away, taking it down. Yeah, maybe I don't know if Trump felt pressured, bullied by everyone around him. We have no idea how hard it is to be the president. You would have hoped, why didn't he go like balls out and get more done? But like, who knows? Like maybe they're like threatening his life or his family.
I think he goes any harder, he gets whacked. I honestly do.
Yeah, so. I feel like that's the case.
Yeah, that's why I don't even blame the guy. I'm just saying I don't think this system is salvageable, because if you can have a guy that Trump, who's a billionaire, self-made, can go out and do other stuff, doesn't need this, and he still is able to be cowed, then we're screwed. I mean, I don't see anybody else getting in there that's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to risk my family and my reputation. I'm going to be dragged on media 24/7 for 4 fucking years straight. Everyone's going to think the worst of me. And also the government's going to work to undermine me every step of the way. They're not going to actually do any of the things I want to do. It's like, this is a fool's errand. Definitionally.
What's the point? You just gotta admit that the bureaucracy is now larger than the government itself. Than the regime. It's larger. It's bigger, and it's like it's not going to come down just by one guy.
There was also a part of it, though, that I blame sort of the average American, and again, as somebody who didn't vote for either of the people who were, kind of the main candidates that time around. There was this, like, from the moment that Trump was elected, there was this incredible, like, hysteria. I don't know if you guys remember back this far, but people were wearing safety pins.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm a safe person, an ally who didn't vote for Trump, and you can come talk to. I mean, like, people were literally.
I thought that was an LGBT thing. Like,
they just happened to hungry.
They had one up here and they had one down there.
That's what I was going to say. Damn it!
That was part of the biggest problem of Trump's presidency, was the way that everybody behaved during it. And I feel like if people would have just like sort of ignored it and went like, whatever, or treated him the way that they treat any other president, like whatever.
But look who controls the media. There's no way they were going to ignore him.
But like that's what made the whole thing so disdainful, and that's really what ended up with the division that we have now, is because the people acted like such incredible lunatics, and we ended up
the resistance. Yeah.
Right. I mean, for how many years? And again, it's like, you don't have to like the guy. You can be critical of like whatever policy, but this whole like, this is the worst thing to ever happen, and these other people aren't just equally as horrible, is, the rest of us were kind of going like, what's happening?
Well, they were told that he was the worst thing ever to happen, and they're just like a mama bird puking it back up.
I got a quick critique for the conservatives too. It'd be a lot easier to convince people that you're I don't know how to phrase this. He would still be in power. I can't. Sorry, I'm trying to get us
right.
If you guys were willing to talk more openly about the fact that you endorsed that you actually voted for him, because I don't know about you guys, but in my life, I know a ton of people that are secret Trump supporters. I know hardly anybody who's an overt Trump supporter. So like for people that are living in this delusion that there is no one that actually liked the guy, it's very easy for them to be like, well, of course Biden won. But if y'all would have stood up at work and said like, yeah, I am a Trump supporter, whatever.
Well, I think we tried to on a little day called January 6th, but we all know how that was painted.
I'm not talking to you, Chrissie.
Over 1 million people there. I think that was, with people being afraid of losing their jobs, etc. Like, I think that was the people really showed up for that, despite how stressed out and how gaslit they've been
Basically
for years.
9/11 too, really.
Oh God.
And personal opinion,
is-
I was proud of the conservatives on that day, despite the violent aspects of it. I thought it was amazing that they were finally willing to actually get in the streets because they had not done anything to protest lockdowns in a meaningful way for an entire year. It was disappointing that it had to come down to protecting Trump as opposed to just protecting their fucking right to leave their house. I would have liked to see them do it all year like Black Lives Matter did. But I was ecstatic to see them finally rise up. And now, of course, as they finally did, they finally had the courage to do it. They're all labeled terrorists and thrown in Gitmo without trial. It's like, it's insane.
And they didn't even release any of the information that was on any of the hard drives that they may or may not have stolen.
Right.
I mean, but by the way, there was one guy had a Lego set, guys. So let's just be
right. The Lego.
It wasn't totally peaceful. I mean, if you ever stepped on a Lego,
there was a Lego set involved. I'm just saying.
I mean, do you know how much it hurts to step on a Lego? That's considered violence. Yeah.
That is violence.
That violates NAP.
I still think that's why AOC has to see therapists because she probably stepped on it. It's
oh my God, she probably has Legos in her cooch. I hate her so much.
Oh, this is
okay.
real.
Oh my God.
Shout out to Neil. Thaddeus doesn't like age of consent. Sup, lolberts. Okay, again, I'm gonna need a translator.
Do you not know about the Thaddeus thing?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Go ahead. You guys go ahead and recap it, even though it's on my show.
Feel free to talk in code if needed.
Thaddeus Russell he's been on Rogan. You may have heard of him. But he's got the Unregistered podcast. He tweeted out something to the effect of like, there's nothing wrong with or not nothing wrong.
No, he said, I know people that have had relationships with 13-year-olds.
Goo.
And they turned out fine. That's what he said.
Or they weren't upset about it or something
What
like
are
that.
you people doing to me on this podcast? I'm a respectable individual.
I know.
These are the fans. This is
You're
not
talking about the Jews. I'm a Jew. This is bad.
We're talking about the child predators.
13-year-olds. Like what is happening here? This is not kosher, pun intended.
This was actually not a joke. He was actually being sincere about this. So I had on Eliza Blue that Friday. Yeah, she's amazing. So I had her on that Friday, and he had this huge Twitter explosion with everybody. So he reached out to me, and because he's been on my show before, and he said, "Hey, would you mind if I come on to explain further?" And I said, "Well, hey, I have like the most outspoken, sexual or trafficking advocate that's coming on my show on Friday. If you want to come on."
Sex trafficking? What?
No, she's anti.
You know what I mean. Jesus, Toad. So I said, if you want to come on,
you're having Epstein on? I thought he was dead.
She gets the first 45 minutes, and then you guys can duke it out in the second half. And of course, even with that structure, people were still upset with me for talking to the guy, and it's crazy. But anyways, if anyone wants to check out the episode, it's not nearly as upsetting as you might imagine.
True. I'm seeing in the chat, people are like, the average bear does notice the increase in gas. The average bear does notice the increase in the price of groceries and just basic stuff. I mean, it's hard to ignore those things.
Yeah. But your wages are going to be 50 cents higher, guys. So don't forget the silver lining.
Well, it's also that they'll still gaslight you from the White House. They said that hot dogs this year are 16 cents less on average. It's like,
oh my God. It's like, don't you want us to eat bugs? It's so confusing.
As soon as they come out with the July 4th video with how cheap everything is, and they put pork chops as part of your 4th of July barbecue, you knew the whole thing was BS. I mean, that was it was come on, this is could you be any more blatant?
But you also know that when the White House talks about hot dogs, they're actually talking about little boys' penises. So.
Oh my God!
Oh God! Sorry, Carol. I'm sorry this is happening.
Not to mention that
I'm going to a Victoria's Secret tomorrow, and I'm going to have a meltdown.
Not to mention that housing costs are up by 25% year over year, and so what? The 17 cents on hot dogs, is that going to help you with that? It's crazy.
Oh, and by the way, BlackRock has basically free money from the taxpayers to compete with you for that house.
Yep.
Hope you enjoy it.
Hey, all rocks matter. No. Okay. That was a BlackRock joke. All right.
Oh,
thank you, Jason Ciricio, for the super chat. God, I had a point I was going to make, but I lost it. It fell out of my little female brain. All right.
You want to talk about Pitbull in Cuba?
No. Ooh, yes. Is this really a thing? Stimulus checks are still in the conversation. People wanting more stimulus checks.
It 100% trended the other day. That it was. I think the actual hashtag was "Fourth stimulus checks now," or more stimulus checks now, and it was just a absolutely hellscape of people asking for. We need more money. We need UBI. We need monthly checks. We need all this and that.
Given your food budget, I'm surprised you're not an advocate for this.
Well, calling them stimulus checks is pretty accurate because most people use them on hookers and blow. So
wow, stick burn.
But by the way, that it's not even that far from the truth. I have a friend who owns a livery service, and basically he said that like in the poorest neighborhoods, they have been booking up the party limos. Like there's no tomorrow.
Wow.
He has been, his business is booming specifically from stimulus. So this is where the stimulus money is going, is to party. And he is like, every single week, like you can't even get normal trips to the airport because they're all booked up from all of this extra party money.
Is he calling his business like the Stimmy Limmy or something? Like
branding genius, Chrissie Mayr.
I love it.
Oh man.
I have a buddy that works for Enterprise, and he said that usually every year, one of their biggest weekends is whenever everybody gets their tax returns, and that's that people just go out and rent a nice car and then go out on the town. What? And he said the same thing with stimulus.
This is all a product of a highly functioning society. When
I
anybody gets any money and they go blow it right away. This is definitely a sustainable.
This is why we don't teach financial literacy in school.
Well, this is the same reason I worked out at Victoria's Secret. It's the same thing. Everybody's becoming increasingly decivilized and degenerate.
I used to work at a Section 8 housing, and you could tell whenever the same time of year, whenever the tax returns hit, you would see a bunch of new TV boxes in the trash because everybody would just go out with their tax returns and buy a new TV every year.
All right,
it's pretty crazy.
I guess it's all our money. So but who are we to say what we should spend our money on and what we shouldn't spend our money on?
And you know what it is? It's like the last death rattle. It's like the people that are like, oh, I really do have to get a job. No, send us more stimmies. It's like, no, bitch, you really do have to go get a job. And everywhere is hiring. So
literally everywhere. There's 9.2 million of them. You could anyone who wants a job could have 3 of them.
Yeah. And it's not just they're open jobs. They're actively trying to get you there. They're giving you $1,000 bonuses just for a week. It's insane. And you have, I was trying to have a carpenter out to my house, and it was hard to get anybody to come out to do work. Go through 4 or 5 different carpenters. They're like, nah, I don't have any workers to help me out. I can't do it.
I'm building 6 houses right now. It's a nightmare. It's really genuinely hard to get labor, and the labor costs are up. And guess what? That adds to the cost of housing, because when I resell it, I'm going to expect to recoup that money. And if you have that across the board, you have an inflationary pressure that spirals out of control. This is how it works. And this is exactly why I advocated against the lockdowns and against the stimulus to help paper over the fucking crater that they created in the economy. And this is everything I listed in May of 2020 on that thread that went super viral, was because I knew exactly what was going to fucking happen. And it's it just doesn't matter. They're going to run us into the rocks, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. So you got to get out of the way.
Yeah, isn't the price of lumber also way up?
It was up. It was up over 400%, but it's back down to a decent level now.
Oh, good. So Clint can get wood again.
Oh my God!
I set you.
You haven't had wood in 2 years. Yeah. Super chat from Omoy. I still don't know how to pronounce his name. At college in Cali, I would lose my scholarships if I said there are 2 genders, or I said I don't hate Trump. Seize their endowments. Carol is based, by the way.
Can I do this one like Jimmy Vollmer?
Oh yeah.
You guys know who Jimmy Vollmer is?
No.
Jimmy from South Park.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy. Okay. At college in Cali, I would lose my scholarships if I said there were 2 genders. Wow. Or I said I don't hate Trump. Seize their endowment. careless bass, by the way.
Wait, are you the actual voice for Tim?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Have you been practicing? You're like, I'm gonna do this tonight.
That's
She's gonna host it. She's
That
gonna
was-
host
That
the South
was with no
game show.
practice. That was just from the vault.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
that was beyond, man. That was awesome.
You've never done that before?
No, of course I've done it.
Okay.
But I haven't done it. Like I don't do it. I don't practice on a regular basis.
My God.
Whenever you go
Shit,
into like
good.
interview for the game shows, is that what you bring out? And you're just like, I do a 6 South Park.
The fun fact is that I hosted a show for Microsoft, like a business show. And what I would do is like in between takes while they were like adjusting the lighting is I would do different voices. I would do the reads for the crew. So that was like,
great.
so they have all these takes of me like doing like the serious Microsoft business and like different cartoon voices and different accents and all that kind of stuff.
What gig what's your dream gig? You want Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune,
No,
Hollywood Squares?
Jeopardy's like way too serious. Like I want something like honestly, Press Your Luck was my dream. I'm kind of pissed about that one. But anything where like you can get excited and like you're getting like Price is Right. Or,
I was gonna say Price is Right.
Yeah, like anything like that where you can like just kind of like you get really excited contestants and you can kind of jump up and down and have a lot of fun. Like I don't want to do anything like super smart like Jeopardy. I just want to have fun and give money and prizes away. Yeah.
Family Feud.
I
would
hope
totally. So I love. Okay, so by the way, Steve, if you don't watch Steve Harvey Family Feud, it is the best because not only is it a game show, it's just
funny.
It's like a comedy show of Steve Harvey.
His faces
I'm not
are
talking about
great.
the celebrity one. I'm talking about like the GSN one and the one that's in syndication is hilarious. Something like that where I could play off of the different contestants would be really fun too. So
my favorite is when someone says, I'm hearing my audio.
Who's doing that? Well, shit. I did not do anything.
Me neither.
Maybe they're listening in on us, the same people that listen on Tucker.
Well, it's Carol. She just told us she's working with Bill Gates. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
All right, muscle
better
through
now.
it, Clint.
Oh no, it's okay. I was just gonna talk about Steve Harvey and how his reaction when someone gives an answer on the Family Feud that's really inappropriate. His deadpan where he's like,
Yeah.
it's my
And then he
favorite thing.
screams it. He was like, dicks! And he's like, points to the...
and then he does like the whole monologue and say, "You're up in here on a family show, and you're gonna be telling everybody that Santa has a North Pole waiting for you." Lord, like he just does the whole thing, and it's just so beautiful to watch. So it's definitely like if you don't watch that and you like comedy, like it's really funny.
Well, they should bring back the Richard Dawson one though, just so they have a host that's like making out with all the female contestants.
Oh my God.
God, that's such a creepy.
That was
Here's the thing, so underrated. Like when I was younger, like I didn't appreciate, but like in retrospect, he was like kind of like had a thing going on.
people person.
So, yeah.
Did you guys hear about this? The Deagle report the CIA released showing seismic population declines by 2024. I'm praying that's because of economic collapse only and immigrants going home, maybe? Oh no.
Jesus Christ. Yes, I have actually talked about it on one of my prior episodes. So they said that there was going to be like a 50% population decline over the next 5 years. So big
in the US or the world.
It was like all industrialized Western societies. They were predicting.
I heard of this. I heard it was linked to the hokey pokey.
Are they
everybody
just offing themselves or what?
No, that I mean they don't give a real prognosis as to like why.
It seems more like a threat than a diagnosis.
That's slightly disturbing.
Yeah, it's horrifying. I mean, yes, it could be the thing that we're not allowed to talk about, or it could be maybe they're just fear mongering about global warming. Who knows?
Or
you're gonna melt.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's insane. Like that's not like 50% is. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
It's horrifying.
Don't worry, man. We're just gonna send that many people to Mars. It's all right.
That is a Bill Gates wet dream for sure, though.
Chrissy, I have a question for you if you don't mind.
Ooh, 34D. Next question.
I have always wondered. Thank you so much. No,
He'll be going to Victoria's Secret tomorrow.
An annual sale.
I know you were more of a Trump supporter than me. Would you I don't know what your policy or opinion is on immigration, but I'm curious if you would be pro Cuban immigrants, given that they are more American than Americans at this point.
It's tempting, right? Because they do tend to vote more Republican. But
They
no,
hate
I think
communism.
I'm very much like anti-illegal immigration. Yeah, overall. And I keep hearing like, oh, they're gonna shift them around and put them in like red counties to make them more blue, like down in Texas. I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like we're too loose. I thought. I mean, my
Speak for yourself, Chrissy.
I mean, I'm doing
We're loose
Kegels.
butthole.
Yeah.
We're very
This
loose
country
butthole.
needs to go back to doing Kegels and get a stronger cervical wall. Yeah.
Oh, God. What if we bring the Cuban people in, take their cigars, and then kick them out?
Oh,
What about the swap program where we take them in, and for everyone we take in, we send out a socialist?
Yes,
We send
that's
out a college
great
graduate.
idea.
Yes.
That's Carol's
dude,
idea.
A college
Yeah.
graduate?
We will,
No,
bring in
No, fresh college
anti-socialists,
graduate.
send out
Oh,
the
okay.
pro-socialists.
Yeah, bring in the Cubans and kick out the white liberals.
Anyone that went to Ivy League that's graduating over the next 12 months, you go to Cuba.
That's
we get the
perfect.
Cubans. I think it's
Can we
It's
get a
also
warrant exemption, please?
Yeah.
Wait, how
sorry.
are Cuban women?
It goes white women first, and then
Hey.
black. Well,
I don't know. Are Cuban women hot? Bring them in.
yes.
Yes.
They look like cigars.
That's why I want to smoke them.
Ooh, I want to put them in my mouth. Chop off the end. No, that's not right.
Oh,
They have great food. They've got great music. They're all good looking. They love freedom. Bring them in. Get rid of the people who don't want. There are a lot of people who don't want to be here, so just swap them out. It's like an exchange program.
All right.
Yeah, have you guys noticed that all our favorite socialist superheroes have been pretty quiet on the Cuba stuff, like AOC, Bernie? No real tweets, no real comments from these guys.
isn't
Wait,
AOC Cuban too?
No,
It's not a joke. Isn't she? What is she?
Isn't she
No,
Puerto
she's
Rican?
Puerto Rican, I believe.
She's,
Oh,
I don't know
close
what
enough.
she is.
Close enough, you fucking racist.
But
She's from Yorktown and Westchester. She comes from money.
I think AOC is clearly, I think, just a member of the establishment through and through, whereas I think Bernie kind of isn't, which is why the establishment didn't want him in there. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's some type of foil or something, but the establishment really worked to not allow Bernie to win the Democratic primary.
Yeah, but Bernie still
just
plays
loves
ball.
being cucked.
He does.
Like,
of course he does.
yeah.
But I
He has that
think
Nick
Isn't he in
Starr
charge of the
problem.
budget, by the way?
Wait, say
I
again?
don't know.
Isn't he in charge of the budget now?
I don't
Didn't-
know.
Oh, I think he is on
Yeah.
the budget
The
committee.
Senate Budget Committee, they put a commie sympathizer in charge of trillions of dollars of our spending.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well, that
Yeah.
Really wants
seems
to
appropriate,
realize.
honestly.
that seems kind of establishment-y to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I think what you have right now, though, with the Cuba situation, I think, is that the elite Democrats from Florida, I guess, are all seeming like they're pushing for military intervention in Cuba. Is
Yeah,
that
dude.
the way I
Yeah,
understand
dude.
it?
I saw it was the mayor of Miami. The mayor of Miami said that we should
Bomb
have
them.
military intervention into Cuba.
He said bomb them.
Yeah, bomb. Yeah,
Jesus.
bomb. Yeah.
I mean,
Which is
that's
basically the
madness.
neocon. I mean, it's the neocon.
We got to bomb them to
everything.
freedom. That's the only way. I mean, it's God.
And this is happening right after the Haiti situation as well, where it seems like the U.S. government is angling for military intervention in both places, seemingly.
I mean, is there any doubt that we weren't involved in the assassination of the Haitian president? I mean, I think it seems very clear.
Looks
I
very
think
Clinton-y.
Mr. Well,
Didn't they
uh,
literally said that some of the assassins were American, right?
They said they were
Yeah.
former like government employees too. So
Yeah, and this was after I think
that sounds like
Haiti-
assets.
Haiti had refused the jabs. Isn't that what happened? Like importing them from the U.S. Something
That's what I heard. I don't know.
that.
Well, on the four
Right, they
horsemen,
made
shout
it-
out Rick Coverdale.
Yeah, they made it sound like, oh, they're rioting because they don't have their precious jabs. You know.
Yeah, and then their president gets assassinated, and now the U.S. is like, oh well, here you go.
One
Wonder
of the
what's
four
going
horsemen
on.
wasn't there? Didn't Ryan Dawson say that it was like a little bit of China too going into Haiti?
He never gave me the details on it. I need to
Oh,
talk to
okay.
him.
Okay, because I heard it. I couldn't remember if he did give the details on it.
Yeah,
Well,
it
Did
was
I
in the
cut,
last
did I cut you off, Pat?
All right, Pat, Dave, say something.
Skinny Dave is a little bitch cuck. How about that?
Oh my god!
No, I'm just kidding. He's coming on our podcast soon, so it's actually really exciting.
Haiti, CCP did Haiti, CCP did Haiti, CCP did Haiti. All right.
Wow, and another one.
Right,
Right, tongue twister.
CIA did Cuba, CIA did Cuba, CIA did Cuba. CIA, yep, okay, got it.
All right.
This,
We're down with this.
this is gonna be what gets Chrissie banned from YouTube.
Oh my
probably.
god.
All I know is that I don't know about those kind of assets, so I'm just gonna stay with the assets that I know about.
Like
That's-
your
that's fair.
book.
Yeah.
Like your
Oh, I
book,
thought you said
Carol.
with your butt.
Yeah, I was
No,
looking
I
for
said like your
assets.
book. I was trying to set it up for a book plug. The War on Small Business.
A butt
How the
plug?
government used the pandemic to crush the backbone of America. Where is it on sale? I think I saw it on Target.com.
So it's available wherever fine books are sold. But I will tell you, since I like to actually walk the talk, I've been encouraging people to buy it from local bookstores. And if you go to bookshop.org, they'll actually, I think they're still back ordered on it, but you can back order it and they'll eventually get around to fulfilling it from a local bookstore.
Oh,
I
yeah.
Have you
ordered
beat
from
out Malice
somewhere.
on the-
What? I keep
Did-
cutting
did-
off
did-
that Dave Smith.
Did you beat out Malice for top Amazon sales?
No.
Damn it.
Hey, Malice was only #1 in Anarchy, I think. Okay, not #1 overall.
Oh, I don't know. So again, I've been funneling people away from the big website. Not that I mind, like I'm capitalist, so if you find value in doing that, like please buy it wherever, buy it as many places as you'd like. But I've been trying to get people to support local booksellers. For
Yeah, you can help two entrepreneurs at once, a small business as well as Carol.
Yeah.
So
Well,
please.
oops, I just bought it from Amazon. Sorry.
You
Wow.
scumbag.
I feel like this is some sort of "you've got mail" situation or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know. You've seen the movie.
Are you
right?
hitting on Carol?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Fat Dave, were you in the middle of something?
No, I'm
Or
done.
no? Okay.
He's always eating. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Things
I really thought about eating on this podcast. I thought it'd be really funny, but I didn't do it.
Until you actually get morbidly obese, I feel like you're not giving your all to this character. So please.
Say, you're not even like chunky. Like, what's the deal with that? I feel like this is false advertising.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude, chunk up a little bit.
I remember I was posting to someone. People were saying this to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna tell my wife, hey, my internet friends really want me to get fat. So
She'd be like,
Just
no
for-
more
just for the
internet for
gag.
you.
It's for
Yeah.
the people. I'm doing it for the people.
no, babe, you don't get it. I'm fat Dave Smith. I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to get the joke. Okay, it's whatever.
I'm also going to tell my husband the same thing. My internet friends want me to get fat. That's why I have to go get some ice cream now.
Can we have a moment of silence for me finding out that Carol has a husband? Very, very.
Oh,
Aw.
Thanks, guys.
I think I just heard your penis frowning.
The price of lumber is going down.
Yeah.
I can no longer get it up.
Wood is scarce. I guess we should try to leave it on a high note. Are there any from your penis?
We're gonna smoke
No.
a bowl.
Are there
Toad's on
any-
track right now.
Are there any kind of to dispel the myth that libertarians don't really live in reality? Are there any kind of real life action items,
Yes.
things that we can do? People can
Yes.
do.
Diversify out of fiat. At least have some exposure to assets that'll be protected if we end up in a hyperinflationary death spiral.
Gold.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Arm yourself like you're ready for war, even though you're a peaceful person. I think it's really important that we represent a deterrent to a tyrannical government. Those would be two things. And then if you want to get involved in politics, I think that you should give serious consideration to not fat Dave Smith, but normal size Dave Smith, as I think he will be one of the most compelling candidates that we've had in a very long time. So look out for him.
Wow, yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to talk on from the capitalistic side. Is that please think about voting with your dollars and support small businesses. Right now, or at least before COVID, the economy was divided in two, half of it with 30.2 million small businesses and half 10 to 15,000 large businesses. If you want some additional impediment for us putting more power on the side of that concentrated amount, start to really think about how you're spending your dollars. Don't necessarily go to the chain restaurant every time. Go to the local restaurant. Think about where you're buying the war on small business. All those kinds of things. Like that really does make a difference. And I don't think that we step into our role in capitalism enough.
Yeah, if you're going to blow your stimulus check on nonsense, blow it at a small business, for the love of God.
Yeah, I mean,
a massage parlor or something.
Yeah.
Or your local
you blow it
cocaine
on
dealer.
them, they help you blow it back.
Literal blow.
I mean, I would say like just talk about what you believe. Like, don't keep it a secret, really.
Yes, have some courage, man. It's like we're running out of time here, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grow
Just for
hair.
your mental health, like go outside. Like fucking like find some people to do shit with. Like I just feel
Fat
like we
Dave
all-
Smith, go for a walk, not a
Yeah.
run.
Don't be a loser.
Stop being poor.
Yeah, stop.
Learn to code.
Learn
Yeah.
to code.
Already do that.
Okay, cool. Guys, this
What
was
about
really...
you, Chrissy? You don't get out of
What?
this. Just because you're running this thing. Get
Yeah.
I
get
know.
off
I'm
it.
just
She's not-
I'm
she's
just
not
Vanna
libertarian.
White. I'm just turning the letters. God, I don't know. Yeah, I'm all for like fucking keeping sane and self-care and like filling your own cup first, because then you're if you're not in a good mood and you're not taking care of yourself, like you're gonna be getting in fights in underwear stores. And yeah, I'm all for sacrificing a little bit of your like public persona or identity or whatever, like reputation for what you believe in. I think, yeah,
That's why you're the best.
Far more people could.
Tonight, I'm sacrificing a bit of my reputation.
Right. Be like Carol. Be like Carol.
Thank you, Carol, for risk talking to us degenerates.
She's doing it for the cause. She's withstanding all of our sexual jokes.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
especially after our podcast the other day, you're dealing with us now. So
And I would say that if you understand the unsustainable nature of this stimulus-ridden economy, realize that you're living on borrowed time, and every dollar that you get from the government that's printed out of thin air is an asset that you should be using to better yourself and get yourself in a more financially stable position, so that you can then look after those in your family that aren't doing the same. I really think that it's urgent. It's really urgent that we start to take care of our own house first, and then if you can build from there, you might be able to look after your neighbor, or your friends, or your family, things like that.
Yeah, saving, not buying like dumb shit.
I mean, you can still do cocaine, but just like on the weekends.
Also buy it for your friends too. Like
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
do it all
And buy it
together.
from a small
help 'em
business
out.
owner.
Yes.
Yes, they are
Buy
small
it.
business owners.
Don't buy your cocaine from Pfizer. It's
Yeah,
when
buy
they
it.
already have
Buy-
enough money.
yeah, buy it from
Buy-
that
buy it from-
homeless dude on the corner.
No, buy it from the Cuban that just came over from Cuba.
Oh my
Oh,
god, yeah.
They have also the best cocaine anyway. So
Yeah. All right. To just plug it out, everybody buy Carol's book at all the places she just told you to. Follow her on Twitter at CarolJS.Roth. Anywhere else they can find you and follow you?
Please no, don't follow me.
No?
anywhere
Okay.
else.
Okay.
Don't follow me
perfect.
home. Don't follow me. Just go see me on Twitter. That's enough for all of us.
And follow Toad and Fat Dave Smith on the Tower Power Hour. Follow Fat Dave Smith. I think it's at Fat Dave Smith and Toad
Fat Comic
at
Dave.
what?
It's Fat Comic Dave.
Fat Comic Dave.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And at Anarcho_Toad. Anything I forgot?
Me?
I don't mean you. I meant with Toad and Fat
know, I'm
Dave.
kidding, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Okay.
No, I
and
mean our
Clint-
Tower Power Hour is on YouTube right now, mostly under
YouTube.
Tower Power
Yeah.
Hour. So, and we have at Tower Gang Pod, I believe, is the Twitter account for
Twitter.
it.
Yeah.
And Dave Smith and myself will be on with these degenerates in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
And
they
last
do
but
it.
not least, Clint. I didn't want to be a Clint tease.
Oh,
That's my job.
and I heard a Clint is just a big dick, or just a small
Wow.
dick. Damn it! I fucked that up. God damn
Next
it!
time.
Thank
next
you.
time.
Do you want me to give my context?
Yes, I do.
At Liberty Lockpod on Twitter, Liberty Lockdown on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Odyssey or Odyssey or whatever you want to pronounce it, everywhere else. Thank you so much for having me, Chrissy. You are one of my faves, so thank you.
Oh my god, thank you.
Maybe the fave. I don't know. Whatever.
I'll take it. This was
Because
great,
that's
guys.
always-
This was
Now,
fun.
Yeah,
by the way,
thank-
now that I'm married, you're the favorite.
No,
Aw.
he was already planning on doing it to Carol, and then he found out married. He's like, I'll just go to the next one.
Keep it. I got to keep it moving, Carol. I'm running out of
No,
time.
listen, I don't judge. I don't. And by the way, she's smoking and super smart. So like, go for it. Yes.
Move on from rejection really quickly.
And then you're next, Toad. No, this was great. This was great, guys. This was so much fun. Hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. Thank you,
yeah.
chat. Thank
Yeah.
you, super chats. You got a lot of smart people in the chat. Appreciate you guys so much. This was great, guys. Talk to you again soon.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks.
Peace.
Peace.